Good evening. I would like to call to order, or I'd like to welcome everyone to the Clovis Municipal School Board of Education meeting. Clerk, would you please call roll?
Yes, President. President Cordova,
Here.
Vice President Hamilton,
Here.
Secretary Martin,
Here.
Member Osborne. Here. Member Egbert. Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Now at this time, we will have the pledge. Ms. Oswald.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, Ms. Cindy. Okay, and now we'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Hamilton,
Second.
second by Ms. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes. Okay, now we're gonna move over to the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, a motion by Ms. Amy. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Now we'll move to the consent agenda. Are there any questions? There are no questions. We'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Mr. Hamilton. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Ms. Renee.
Thank you, President Cordova. My first item tonight is to invite Ms. Williams up, but before, I'd like to take a point of privilege. I wasn't expecting them tonight, but Captain Romero and Officer Riddle, if you all would stand, I just want to introduce you to Officer Riddle. She will be our new school resource officer in the coming year. And so I just wanted you to be able to put a face with the name, and we're excited to have that program back in place next year.
Thank you for
Thank
being here.
you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Welcome.
We are too.
Look forward to another year, and I kind of look forward to the whole roundup you do here in just a couple of weeks. I don't think she's ever had to attend one.
oh,
The themes are going to be fun. You'll see.
It's amazing.
It really is.
But we're looking forward to another year. And hoping that it is a good, just learning.
Thank you.
well, thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Romero.
Okay. Miss Sarah Williams from Cannon, give us a quick update, I think.
Good evening, President, board members, superintendent. I don't have a lot to share. We're just getting ready for our back to school event on Saturday. We're excited to have so many of you attend again this year. And we have a surprise. We have a live local band that's going to be there. They're going to play music throughout the event. And then we have some statics that are going to be inside the hangar. So it's going to be a lot of family fun activities and a lot of exciting stuff to see. So we appreciate you guys being there and always supporting us. Thank you.
All right, and next I'd like to invite Ms. Lori Gamble up to the podium. As you know, following COVID, we were really trying to get kids re-engaged during the summer. That's when we initiated Camp Wildcat. I think this is our third year we've had Camp Wildcat. Mrs. Gamble was the director this year, and she's just going to give you some highlights from the program this summer.
Good evening, President Cordova, members of the board, and Superintendent Russ. I'm super excited to talk to you about Camp Wildcat this year and the progress it made. We blended a few programs this year. So we blended the PED reading program, the summer youth athletics, and we also incorporated fine arts program with that. And so Mr. Brandon will show you the blended. And so just a little breakdown of it. The summer reading program had 4 hours of reading instruction built into it. The curriculum, the instructors were trained by the PED on that program. Miss Lucatero was our site coordinator for the reading program. Then Title I took over the STEM class for Title schools funding with the transportation for the Title schools. The Wildcat Youth Program had impressive numbers, and I'm going to ask him to share that with you guys at the end. And that was ran through Coach Sherrod and Mr. Brady's program. Fine Arts Program, Mr. Pickett oversaw that, we embedded art and theater into it. They had some options. And a huge shout out to our operations team because they provided the extra transportation costs for our non-title schools. Just a little bit about the structure of the program. The program only ran for the month of June, Monday through Thursdays. So it was June 2nd through the 26th, and it was from 8 to 3. Give or take, if they only signed up for the summer youth program, they only had to come for the summer youth program. But they had the ability to sign up for all and be transported in the morning and transported back to their home school. Breakfast, lunch, and snacks were provided, which was amazing. Within that, again, the reading instructors had groups of no more than 3 to 5. So it was very small and directed instruction. The curriculum was a high dosage tutoring model that you will be continue to see, I believe, through the elementary. 1 hour of STEM activities were given by the grade levels. And of course, our athletic program by grade levels was 1.5 to 2 hours of it. So here is just a little slide on it. We had roughly 400 students enrolled in the reading program when we started. On an average, the daily attendance was 70% or 280 students. You definitely can see the pie chart breaks it down by schools, with Mesa being the highest percentage in attendance. This slide, at the reading program, they had to take a beginning of the program assessment. And after the assessment, Ms. Lucatero placed them in their level with their instructor for their small group. Then they had to take an end of the year program assessment. And this slide just breaks it down by grade level on how many took the assessment at the beginning and compared to the end. We had huge gains, and we're super excited to share that with you. Remember, we only had roughly 15 days of reading instruction happening by the time we get started and all the testing. We had 65% of students showed growth from the beginning to the end, and then we broke it down by grade level to show you that growth. Huh? Okay, thank you. So then I'm going to have Coach G share you some impressive numbers for athletics on that. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask us.
President Cordova, members of the board, and Superintendent Russ, just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to talk to you guys today. So I'll share some numbers with you on the behalf of our athletic programs for the elementary and our arts numbers as well that we collaborated with Corey Pickett, our fine arts director. So for week 1, for volleyball, we had 236 kids signed up for that. Along with that, we had 215 kids for art. So total, we had 451 kids. So then for week 2 for football, we had 207 kids. For fine arts, we had 254 kids. And then in total, that was 461 kids. And then week 3 for basketball, we had 302 kids. And then fine arts, we had 156 kids. And then the total for that week was 458. And then week 4 for soccer, we had 303 kids. Fine arts, we had 153 kids. And then total, we had 456 kids. So on average, every week, we had 457 kids. So that was 457 kids that had an opportunity to be engaged in something over the summer that was free of charge. And as we know, it's not that many things out here for kids to do in the summer, and that was enough opportunity for them to be engaged and for us to hook them in and kind of get them on track with, which all that ties into graduation rate. The more kids we have being a part of something, being included, whether they're athletes or they're in fine arts, it all ties into graduation rate and retention rate, which obviously is what we're trying to do. So obviously all these kids aren't going to be college athletes or all that kind of stuff, but I think it ties into giving them purpose and giving them opportunity. And I think that's what we need to do if we want to help increase the graduation rate and give these kids more purpose in Clovis. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Guys have any questions?
I just want to comment that the sustained enrollment is pretty impressive.
right?
Absolutely.
From beginning of program to end of program and in the athletic program, we could.
It's very
Okay,
impressive.
in the-
Yeah.
School year, that's impressive.
Yes,
for
we
you.
were very pleased with those results too.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have to find funding for Camp Wildcat next year.
Okay, well, we should start looking now. Turn over a lot of lives.
Okay, and for my last item tonight, I'm bringing to you some draft components of our strategic plan that, as you know, we've been working on together since January. We had 5 strategic planning committee meetings over the course of that time. We worked with 4 different focus groups who reviewed survey data, who reviewed drafts that the committee was putting together. You all had a work session in the spring as well. And so what we're bringing to you tonight are some draft documents that we really, really like and that we really think are reflective of what folks told us. We had over 1,200 responses to the surveys, and that included a lot of students, mostly from the high school, and a really nice cross-section, both from the committee and also in the survey. So I'm just going to present these drafts to you. The first item is the core values. And really these words and the definitions that accompany them, these are really intended to reflect the guiding principles that all of the rest of the strategic plan is based on. So give you just a second to look at those, make any comments. I know that this is an evolved version of what you all saw at the work session. So we're really interested to get your feedback on these as well. So those core values would be community, innovation, accountability, and achievement.
I just want to say, I think it's awesome the way that you guys were able to take everybody's input, and we had a lot of different input from a lot of different places and condense it down into this, and it feels like it incorporates all of that. So I think it's great.
Then we're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next piece is the vision statement. And really a vision statement is just a nutshell of what it is that we're wanting to aspire to. So igniting innovation, pursuing excellence, and empowering Wildcats. And I just want to point out again that the Wildcats refers not only to our students, but to our community and our employees as well. And that's why we're really strategic and targeted in on that term to include, especially after our long discussion about legacy and tradition, and does that keep us too rooted in the past? And so we felt like that really encompassed all of those ideas by translating into Wildcats. Okay, so then the mission statement is a little bit longer, but really it's intended just to summarize what should our scope of work be over the next 5 years. So it's just a brief yet longer than the vision statement, just an idea of what is our work going to be about in the next 5 years.
Well, I like the way that the 3 of them are connected. Like, you don't see one thing and then something else and something else. That's very intentional, very connected. So good job.
It's good feedback. And then the actual meat and potatoes, I guess, of the strategic plan, we just put it into a spreadsheet. We called that the dream catcher while we were working on it. And so what you have are 4 broad commitments. And that's what you see along the top of each one of those sheets. But I want to use this one to explain. So on this commitment of accelerating achievement, that's the overarching commitment. What you see on the left-hand side are our targets. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish across the 5 years. On the right-hand side are the expectations. That's the work that's going to be done. So each one of those is something that may even require more of a kind of a micro plan to pull each one of those off, but those actions are intended to accomplish the target that's on the left side, or at least work towards it. Running down the middle are a number of different ways that we could measure the outcomes that we would be getting as we put those steps into action on the right side in an effort to reach the target that's on the left side. So the first of these commitments is accelerating achievement. Go ahead and scroll down, Brandon. The second commitment is elevating expectations, and we were very intentional about elevating expectations for everybody, not just the students, but also our staff. And I'd like to think too, with families in the community, when we're talking about attendance and so forth, that takes all of us to accomplish that. The third commitment is fostering holistic well-being. So you can see what we're trying to accomplish, the work we're going to do to try to get there, how we would measure this commitment, progress towards it. And then the final being engaging family and community. And so I hope that you can see how this also strings together with the core values, vision, and mission. And so what would come next after this? This is very rough format. So we return to work with our consultant. Our team is already working on branding, marketing ideas. And so they'll take those pieces from us, put it into a professional looking package, and then we'll start distributing that widely this fall. But before we can do that, we need your seal of approval on this work. So
Are there any
that's what I'm
questions
here to
from
ask.
the board?
No, it's really nice to kind of see it all together.
Yeah.
Some pieces and everything that we saw along the way. Really great.
I'm glad to hear that it doesn't feel brand new
No,
to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it feels like a reflection of where we're already headed. So I think that was important too.
And I think that's a really good point. We wanted to leverage the investment that we've made in our UVA involvement. You know, that's been years worth of work, and it started small with a few schools, and there was a lot of learning with that, a lot of systems that have been put in place across the district as reflective of that investment of time, money, effort. And so we did want to just not completely go in another direction, but leverage that and build on it.
I love it.
Yep, me too.
This is an action item, so
City is.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Hamilton, a second by Mr. Martin. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. President Cordova,
Yes.
Vice President Hamilton,
Yes.
Secretary Martin,
Yes.
Member Osborne,
Yes.
Member Egbert.
Yeah.
Okay, it passes.
Thank you. Good
Thank
job,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, guys.
We're excited about that.
Okay, so now we'll move over to academic service. Mrs. Nagaril.
Good evening, President Cordova, members of the board and Superintendent Russ. Have just a few informational items as well as one consideration item for you this evening. I'd like to start by asking Crystal Gutierrez up. She's our Director of Health and Related Services, and she has the Health Services and Health Handbook for you. And then when she's finished, Lee Morris will come up. She's our Director of Curriculum and Assessment, and she has curriculum for you for next year.
Good evening, President Cordova, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm going to share last year's health data and then go over a few changes that we made in the handbook that are very minor. Before diving into the numbers, I want to take a moment to recognize the essential role school nurses play in supporting our students every day. Our nurses do far more than address office visits. They provide safe and welcoming spaces for students and lead the district in efforts in primary and secondary disease prevention. They are critical in ensuring students stay healthy, stay in school, and thrive. Let's begin with what I like to call our report card, our health report card. This slide breaks down the 42,490 office visits that the nurses had this year, and they are broken down into key categories: illness, injury, routine care, follow-up care, and other. From this data, we evaluate how well we're meeting our goals in keeping students healthy and in class and supporting those with chronic health conditions. I'm proud to share that 90% of those visits resulted in students going back to class, which is our goal and a testament to the efforts that the nurses had in their care. Our registered nurses are skilled professionals who continue to expand their expertise in school-based healthcare. School nursing is a specialty and not just Band-Aids and ice packs. We hear that a lot and we take it in stride, but they are all very skilled nurses. Last year, 509 students received medically necessary medications at school, 82 students received complex medical procedures during the school day that they need to stay in class safely. 219 students received emergency medication administration that ranged from rescue inhalers, epinephrine for anaphylaxis, and Narcan for possible overdoses. Now, this next slide is a little bit of a brag, I'll admit. But first, 2,719 students visited the nurse's office for other reasons, and these can't be categorized in illness or injury. And I like to think that that's because they know that they're going to be cared for in those offices. And that really speaks to the trust that they have that they build with their students, and it's really powerful, a relationship that we don't take lightly. Thanks to our nurses' tireless efforts, sending letters, making calls, and following up with families, we ended the year with 99.3% compliance rate for immunizations that the state requires. In addition to clinical care, our nurses serve as health educators, going into the classroom and educating on topics such as puberty, healthy relationships, and their work extends far beyond just the health office. The next slide highlights the incredible community health partners that we have. Thanks to La Casa and Familia Dental, students receive essential care because dental pain from cavities, which is known as caries, that's what's up there, if you're wondering, should never be a barrier to learning. This partnership takes a lot of coordination with staff and principals, and I know sometimes it's really difficult managing a schedule, but this may be the only access to dental services that these students have. And I've been in there while they're seeing the students and hearing like, you know, you have 4 or 5 cavities or you need extractions. And I think it's really powerful to see that if they didn't have that opportunity at school, then it probably would have carried on for a while until it's a bigger problem. So we're very thankful to their partnership. Next, I want to spotlight Adventure Vision and Lions Club. Together, we screened pre-K, first grade, third grade, and eighth graders. And while eighth graders are not mandatory for vision screenings, we feel like it's important since they'll be driving soon. So definitely get that done. On the next slide, we conduct BMI screenings with the help of our hostess students and the New Mexico Department of Health. And we're really excited to track the numbers now that we have our youth sports program up and running. And I think that we're really going to see those BMI numbers drop with the participation of these really important sports and activities that are being offered. This year, we launched a new partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield. They brought their mobile unit to 3 locations and administered mandatory vaccines, and this prevented students from being disenrolled in school or from school. We're hoping to bring them back next year, and this just helps where parents have trouble getting their kids to appointments, they have trouble getting off of work. We understand there's a lot of barriers, and we're hoping to bring these services to the school so we can keep kids in school. Now I want to shine a spotlight on this incredible Medicaid team that I have the privilege of working with. These women are the backbone of the Medicaid program, which brings vital federal funding into our district. Over the last 2 years, we have been working to include nursing services in the IEP process to ensure Medicaid is billed correctly. Nurses review and every student who is on an IEP. Nurses touch every single IEP, whether they're being evaluated and it ends up in an IEP or not. They're very involved in the process, but we did have to align some of our documentation to make sure that we can submit claims appropriately. So I'm proud to report that our nursing services generated $33,015.40 in paid Medicaid claims. These are services that we had already been providing. We just had to align the documentation of state and federal requirements. We anticipate this number increasing because we had over 300 claims to be denied from a state issue. It was everything that we did appropriately, but there was some problems on the back end from the state that they're working out. And in closing, thank you all so much for your time and continued support. I'm honored to work with along a great dedicated team of nurses. We're a really close group and I can't wait for another year with them, but also our leadership team. And I know that you guys work closely and I want everybody who is here to know that these leaders are exactly who we say they are. They're incredible, they're supportive, they bring health services voice to the table, and I just attended the national conference for school nurses, and there was a lot of talk about a disconnect with health services and education, and that's not our school. Clovis supports us, and we are a team here. We're the best team in the state, I'll tell you, in the nation, sure. But okay, so moving on from that and going on to the changes in the health handbook. On page 3, we just changed the wording to clarify the documentations required for proof of immunity. And then on the same page, we updated the requirements that New Mexico Department of Health has removed or changed the meningococcal vaccine from 11th grade to 12th grade. And on page 9, the time frame for picking up medication was 1 week after the last day of school. We're changing that to the last day of school because we are keeping up with a lot of controlled meds, and it's passing through a lot of hands in that process. So we want the parents to be able to pick that up on the last day of school, and we make many calls and letters and efforts to make sure that they pick up the medication so we don't have to throw it away. But I stand for any questions.
Thank you.
That makes sense. Thank you so much for all
Thank
that.
you so much, yeah.
Good evening, I guess I could change that. Good evening, President Cordova, members of the board, and Superintendent Russ. The first thing on the agenda is the introduction of the K-5 elementary integrated curriculum. What is new in this document this year is our science adoption. It, as we talked about at the last board meeting, last year was science adoption, and so K-5, we've now put theirs into their documents. When we talk about an integrated document, it serves 2 purposes. One, it puts the cores that work well together, science, social studies, and ELA, into one document. If we can tie in certain themes or standards that have crossovers, we try to do that within that same time frame of teaching so that kids see the overarching purpose of all of that. So that is a twofold purpose for an integrated document for those 3 cores. I know this is just an introduction, so you may not have any questions at this time.
Any questions from the board?
I just want to say it's impressive.
Oh, thank you.
It's very impressive, and I know it's a lot of hard work, so I
It
appreciate
is.
it. Even, writing is included, so. bless your hearts.
Writing
Yes.
is very important, yes.
Yeah.
The next item is to consider the 6 through 12 science curriculum that was introduced at the last board meeting. And I stand for any questions for that.
Are there any questions from the board?
Just another comment.
Yes.
If I were teaching science, I would be so excited to have this in my hands. Wouldn't you? So thank you guys for.
Yes, our teachers did a very good job this year of identifying exactly what needs to be taught, the time frame it should be taught, but it does not take away the art of teaching or how I want to teach it.
Exactly. It's very.
This is a consideration item. We'll entertain a motion.
To approve the CMS 6 through 12 curriculum for science.
A motion by Ms. Osborne and a second by Ms. Amy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Mr. Strickland.
President Cordova, Superintendent Russ. I have several items on here. You can see through the employee services report and the open position report that we've been quite busy processing interviews and signing new positions. So we're making good progress. An update, I mentioned the H-1B teachers that we're bringing in for some special ed positions and some bilingual positions. Those are all individual applications with the Department of State. And so it takes a little bit of time, but they're all still in the works. So hopefully that'll help us out in that area.
Working so hard to get some.
You bet. So I do stand for questions on A and B. If there's any questions you have about employee services reports or open positions.
Are there any questions?
I'm surprised you're still able to stand here. But thank
We
you guys.
have a really good, well-oiled machine down there that takes care of a lot
For sure.
of people. Very proud of that team. I also have a couple of consideration items. On C, we do have another leave of absence that I would like you to consider. Just as a reminder, a leave of absence is unpaid leave up to 1 year. This one is for medical leave of absence, and I have the documentation and support the request.
Okay, if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
I'll
Motion by Mr.
second.
Martin and a second by Mr. Hamilton. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Very good, thank you. It's very much appreciated for our employees. I have a series of board policies that need to be considered as well. And so if we want to go through them one at a time, most of these, well, the first one, E0550, about school emergencies, is a very minor change. They added cardiac emergency response plans and automated external defibrillator in some of the statutes. And so this one is just a reference. So I stand for any questions on that one. Do you want to vote individually, President Cordova, or do you want to vote one at a time?
Let's go through them one at a time.
Okay.
Real
Very
quickly.
different.
So if there aren't any questions, I'll look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Have a motion by Mr. Martin,
Second.
second by Ms. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Second one.
I0050 is on instructional goals and objectives. The change here is adding the phrase students shall be taught to read using the science of reading, structured literacy, and scientifically based reading instruction. Literacy instruction for English language learners shall include evidence-based practices for biliteracy, differentiation, and culturally and linguistically responsive instruction. And I know that this has all been going on in our academic services department for years, and this is just formalizing it in our policy. So we stand for any questions, and academic services is in the house as well, if you have any.
If there aren't any questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Edward,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Hamilton. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The next one, J3150, that is coming out of Senate Bill 11 that was just passed. We are required to have a cell phone policy in place. That we were given two options. One was pretty much a ban of cell phones just straight out. We opted for the second one that gives us a little more latitude. The main piece in this one that I want to point out is the school principals, with the approval of the superintendent and in compliance with board policy and administrative regulations, shall make rules regarding student use of wireless communication devices during instructional hours. There's also a section in this policy that prohibits us from making a rule that would eliminate accessibility concerns like text to speech and speech to text for people that need that. Also, if it's used as a medical device, and I know having a son that has a medical device that's controlled by a cell phone, how important that is. And then if there's a health, safety, or emergency reason, or for educational reasons, that can be a site decision. So it gives those caveats. I did, before you look at that one, I did Mrs. Russ actually included in the informational items our plan for what that will look like in the student handbook and the staff handbook. And there's just a couple of things I wanted to point out on that. Again, the expectation for students is that the device is turned off and stored out of sight during the instructional day, but it gives some areas where that wouldn't happen. Emergency situations, medical reasons, IEPs, or accessibility. That's in grades K through 8. In grades 9 through 12, often stored away during instructional time. However, they can have their devices out during lunch periods and before and after school. And having 3 children that are addicted to the phone, I know how important that's going to be. For faculty, we are asking that during instructional time, staff only use their phones for professional purposes. And we've never really spelled that out for our staff, so I think that's an important thing. Also, that during non-instructional time, because I know a lot of our staff arrive early and stay late, that they make sure that the use of their personal cell phone is appropriate and doesn't interfere with their duties or responsibilities. We also have it spelled out with the exceptions on things that can be, and then we've already gone over those. And so this all stems out of, well, the Senate Bill 11, but also when we did our strategic planning, we surveyed multiple groups, and there are concerns about the use of cell phones. I like Mrs. Russ pointed out that students felt like their own personal cell phone didn't bother them for instructional time, but other students using their cell phone was a problem because it distracted. So I think that this gives us some flexibility. Doesn't completely ban cell phones, but it should help us be able to control them. So I stand for any questions.
Questions or comments?
I just want to say I read through it all and I think it's about as comprehensive as you could get. I think it covers as many bases as you can cover, and I like it. I think you guys did a really good job.
That's a bit of flexibility as
Yeah.
opposed to a total ban, which
Yeah.
would have, I think you guys did the very best that you could given the parameters.
Yes.
I agree. This is an action item, so
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Hamilton, a second by Ms. Edward. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that consideration. Next policy, J5440, cardiac emergency response plan and automated external defibrillators. I know that Clovis has been, again, ahead of the game on this one and having defibrillators around. And as I advance in age, I'm very appreciative of that. Again, this just formalizes it. It's a requirement that we have that. I reached out to Mrs. Gutierrez about the medical side, and they're working on all of the, after the policy is passed, if it is passed tonight, they still have responsibilities of getting their procedures and how that's all going to look. But again, we've been doing this for a while. And so I stand for any questions, and we have Nurse Crystal here as well.
There aren't any questions? Anybody want to make a motion?
The motion to approve?
Motion by Ms. Edward,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, last one. J6700, parental guidance for water safety. This one, I'm going to say I really like it.
Me
And
too.
I know we live in the middle of the desert and we don't think about it, but people have drowned in Clovis
Yes.
during some of our storms and at the Green Acres Lake. And I think it's really important. I would just like to use a point of privilege to say that at some point we ought to consider, which has been brought up by other people, adding that into an experience for our kids so that when they get out of school that they have swimming lessons at some point in their life. It can really save a life.
Yes.
But until we get to that point, we have this policy that just says that we make it information available so that parents can seek that out for their own children and help them develop that very important life skill. I have another outside group that I work with, and we were having a discussion, and there was quite a few people in the group that didn't know how to swim, adults that don't know how to swim. It floored me that they could get to that age and not know how, but there's a lot.
It's kind of hard to find swimming lessons here, honestly. At the grandmother of some grandkids, it's been hard to. And then sometimes you take them to Portales, but their pool hasn't been open for several years. So it really is a challenge to get them to the place where they're proficient swimmers.
And it's great that we're providing information to do that. So like you said, it's a very valuable life skill.
For sure.
With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Mr. Hamilton,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good evening, President Cordova, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. This evening, I bring forward 2 items for your consideration. The first item is a petty cash request that's from the CHS band boosters. In the amount of $1,000 to be used for making change during concession sales at the athletic events. And I stand for any questions.
There aren't any questions?
It'll be that time, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's coming up. I'll entertain a motion.
A motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Edwards,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Hamilton. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
The second item I have is a request that I bring yearly. It's to submit budget adjustment request prior to the next board meeting. And this is just due to the time sensitive award letter deadlines. And I stand for any questions.
Okay, this is an action item, so. if
Move
there-
to approve.
Motion by Mr. Martin,
Second.
second by Ms. Edward. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, operational, Mr. Brady.
Good evening, President Cordova, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. I'd like to take a point of privilege, and I want to introduce somebody who's in the audience for the first time at a board meeting. Nick Williams, would you please stand up, please? This is our new athletic director for Clovis Schools. We're very proud of him. He's been very visible, been very active, strategic in where we're moving and what we're doing right now to start the school year. So I just want to take a moment and welcome him to the board meeting and welcome to the district.
Welcome, sir.
Okay, I have a single item on the agenda for you tonight for you to consider. It's the resolution and proclamation of regular school district election, general obligation bond, and a capital improvement tax question. Prior to getting to the resolutions, I want to give you I've sent you some background information, but I want to make sure that we go on record with that. This is a long-term commitment that will take 12 years to complete, and it will be done in 3 phases. In each of the phases, we will need to pass a bond to support our match to the state to get the construction done. So when I started here 30 years ago, PSFA came into fruition and they advertised our bond sale for the work that we could do. And if you look across our district, we have amazing facilities. We really do.
We do.
We have done an amazing job. And the age of Clovis High School, and I tell you that, it's amazing what we've done to keep that facility up and running. In that, we have not had a tax increase in almost 50 years. And so we knew a long time ago when I first came into this job that we would get to a place to where for us to continue the work, that we would get to a place that we would have to ask our taxpayers to consider a bond that would raise their property taxes, okay? So we're here. And I will go a step further and I will say our facility plan, when we met over a year ago and we put our facility plan in place, which is one of the requirements to bond and to receive match funding from PSFA in the state, we thought we really had a comprehensive amount of work to carry us. But I'm going to tell you, we have really blown through a lot of the things that were on that list. Now, we still have some there, but we're at a place now that we need to address our high school, okay? And so some background information so that you understand where we're at. The end of life on a facility is 50 years. You're doing good to keep a school open and going for if it's 50 years of age. The average age of the Clovis High School facility is 51 years for each structure. We have one building that is actually 69 years old and it's still in use.
Which one is that, bud?
A building.
A building.
Right now, we're currently ranked number 100. PSFA funds will fund match funding with our bond dollars 1 through 100. If you're above 100, maybe, but probably not. So that's a sliding scale, and now they're down to the top 100 received funds. And that's out of 634 facilities that are eligible for funding. The further away you are from number 1, the less likely you're going to be funded. It's that simple, okay? And so I want to make sure that we're very clear on that. Our match rate is 39%. When I started, it was 80-20. For every 80 cents that the state kicked in, we only had to kick in 20 cents for $1. So now it's 39 cents of every dollar we have to provide that to get the construction done. When you look at Clovis High School to replace the school, and that's an all-at-once thing, it's $800 a square foot for us to go in and replace. It's $650 to renovate. I've given you background information for a three-phase plan that will take 12 years for us to begin the renovation and replacement of most of the structures at Clovis High School. Actually, it's 100% if the money holds out. There's $156 million and change, 156,700,000 that I've calculated on a renovation and replacement plan. And the district share would be $61.1 million to match at our 39% rate right now. All right. So in phase one, and it aligns to what we have said we value in our programs, we would start looking at a performing arts wing, band, choir, tech lab, lecture hall, and annex would be in the first phase. Also, we would look at system upgrades in buildings D and F, renovations in buildings E and G, and then we'd also look at the locker rooms comprehensively at the high school. This bond that we would propose, the question that we will add to the ballot with your approval, would cover our match cost with the state. Phase two, we would get into building South A, B, and C. Those would be replacement buildings where Clovis High School Freshman Academy is now located. We would knock those down and we'd erect a structure that would house 90% of the students that are in the Freshman Academy, and that would be in phase two. And then we'd renovate the remainder of D and North A and get those taken care of. Phase three, library, F building, ag, H, and I, those buildings would be renovated and bring those up. These are standards-based renovations. And so when you look at building codes, systems that are in there, all of those things, we would gut those buildings and we would upgrade everything there to meet standards, okay? Now, both resolutions, well, what does that mean, I should say? For every $100,000 of property tax, that means annually you'll pay $67 more in your property tax, or $550 a month. For a $300,000 home, that would elevate your tax, your property tax, $233 a year, or it would be $19.42 a month to support this. We've done the three-phase plan so that we didn't ask the voters to really jack up their property taxes. It'd be unrealistic for us to ask our community to do a complete replacement of the school. So by doing a three-phase plan, it allows us to be able to absorb the increase in what we're asking our community members to give, but also do the work that is critically needed to bring that school up to standards. I'll tell you where we're at, and I'll compare. I like comparing. So you benchmark. Carlsbad just passed a $500 million bond. They're going to completely replace their high school at the cost of $200 million. And the city's going to carry that completely. Hobbs added a career and technical center for $65 million. It is state of the art, and the kids that are going through those programs that are earning industry certifications and that are being prepped to go into the workforce are at the high end of what you can offer kids so that they are trained and ready to go into the workforce if they choose to. And that is what this bond is going to help Clovis schools do, is prepare kids to go out into the next level of life post-graduation and be competitive. And so our facilities need to reflect that commitment. So we have in front of you two proposals. One was a $10 million bond and one was a $20 million bond. The $10 million bond is a dollar increase, and the $20 million bond is a $2 increase. For us to meet our match on the plan that I've submitted, we would look at our first phase is roughly about $19 million would be our match to go in and do the work on phase one. The initial increase would be the only increase, in every bond thereafter, when we would need to go out and pass another bond, which would be in 29 and 33, that would not involve a tax increase. So we'd just be maintaining at that point. The second question is our 2 mil levy. These funds are public school facility improvements. They're used for public school facility improvements, technology upgrades, maintenance, and student activity vehicles. This is a continuation tax that's already in place. We're not asking to increase that. So two separate questions. You have two resolutions, one's for 10 million, one's for 20. And then you have the tax levy that we already have in place that we're wanting to continue. The tax levy is a part of both resolutions, and I'm asking you for your consideration. I stand for any questions.
A question. So through the 3 phases, Clovis High School stays at the 100 level. We don't drop down once we do some of the renovations.
Good
We
question.
stay in that
It's a great question,
high needs.
and we're working with PSFA to answer that question as we speak. I think once you're awarded, you're good, but we're gonna get clarification. We have a meeting later this week to discuss that with our public schools funding authority people.
And then as the cost of building increases and we're looking at 12 years, do we think this final phase that would actually be enough money? The 49.7 million? Because by then, that's sort of the CTE kind of places, right?
Right.
That last phase.
Right. And I'm hoping that we get close.
Okay.
Construction cost, our match could go down, and let's explain that piece of it. That's a great question. So our 39% match rate that we currently have, the legislature can choose to offset and appropriate funds to districts so that we pay less. So as we pay less, we have more money, we move further in. And so if our match goes up, obviously less work will be done. And that's a moving target, Mrs. Osborne.
I get that. Okay.
I think that that's another reason why I don't know that scenario 1 makes a lot of sense. I think that if we're gonna do it, we need to do scenario 2.
I agree.
Great.
Mr. Brady, would be nothing preventing the board from changing the order of what's happening in the phases, or
That's 100% on us.
their decision tonight is about the money side of it.
Yes, all I'm asking for you tonight is to pass the resolution, which we need in statute to be able to go to the voters with the question.
And then if we need to change up we need to do something in phase 2 and move it to phase 1, then we have that flexibility.
Yes,
But you would need to be transparent as we are,
Talking to.
yes,
People.
yes.
Right. Right now, we want to do it like this, but if it changes, we need to.
But before we start approaching the voters, we need to be transparent about what.
So we need to
this
do it
first-
before.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
but tonight you're deciding about the 10 versus the 20,
Gotcha.
the 1 versus the $2.
Anybody who's out in the world knows we need to go for that.
Well, I know I graduated from Clovis High School and it was the same place that my parents graduated from. And that was a long time ago. So
Hold that.
I mean me, not I'm just saying.
I think that's it. He talks about his parents.
well,
Yeah.
being at the high school all those years and doing the tours for our alumni that would be in for reunions, that was one of their mainstay comments, was that nothing's really changed. It's
Yeah,
the same facility.
yeah,
And so it's wonderful, but it's also, we have a lot of work to do for that
Yeah.
school.
yeah.
And we have Art.
Art Melendres is with us, as well as Eric Harrigan with RBC. So if you have any questions of them, they are available on the call.
And so our current bond it's paid off now? Where are we in that process?
We're still paying on it.
Okay.
Yeah, there, I think there's a
That's
schedule in here.
in your,
It's in that, you go.
Okay.
was on page 3.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Art or Eric, do you have anything that you wanted to add?
Hi, this is Eric Harrigan. Good afternoon. Unless there are any specific questions that the board has.
From the board?
Thinking
Have you guys had elections recently where an increase was approved? Is that?
Yes, we have, there have been, school districts, let's see, I believe Belen was probably the most recent, which was a couple of years ago. They had an increase. I think probably the most important thing is really communication, about the not only what the tax impact is, but also what the community is receiving.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned, Jay, we hadn't had this, excuse me, any type of increase in 50 years.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I've been out of school 50 years, so that's probably about right. I hate to say that, but I am. But
Well, and
it's
in construction, and Mr. Martin, you're in construction as I am, it's expensive, and looking at our facilities, we, across the district, our schools are second to none. And I was able to be on this board when we did have the 80-20 match, and that was great. And we did a lot at that time. So we've been really, really good and cautious about using our money and how we use it. It's just everything has a shelf life.
Yes.
And the high school is there. And if we want the best for our kids, sometimes we just have to
Step up.
step up to the plate and say, even though my kids may not be in school, my grandkids may be, but we want to leave it better than what we found it.
Yes, sir.
So 12 years down the road, I don't want to put the board of the district, myself personally, in a position to say, man, now we're in trouble. We have right now the choice to do something about it.
Well, and who's to say that increase might look a whole lot different, a whole lot more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that time, yes. So
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Brady. I think on the ranking, which is at 100, that's the idea to be between there. And a lot of that depends on whether or not the community has funds to take care of their part, whether or not we can move up or not.
Correct.
So it behooves us to make sure that we got the money ready to go when we got our plans ready for sure. And so I think that it sounds bad with what's going on right now, but I agree with everybody else. Might as well do it too. It still be up to the folks.
I think it's our responsibility.
We've talked about this for decades, literally decades, that we need improvements at the high school.
We saved the biggest for last, Ms. Osborne.
Yeah, I mean, that's just me. I don't think I think we're at a place where we don't have a choice.
We're at a crossroads. We have to make a decision. Okay, that being said, this is an action item. We'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a
The
motion.
Scenario $2 tax rate increase.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Hamilton,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Osborne. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes, President Cordova,
Yes.
Vice President Hamilton,
Yes.
Secretary Martin,
Yes.
Member Osborne,
Yes.
Member Egbert.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we've got some work to do.
Okay.
Balls back in your court.
Right.
It
Okay,
always bounces back to y'all. Yeah.
open forum. Ms. Gina, do we have any cards?
President Cordova, I have no comment cards.
Perfect. Okay, now we're back to announcements.
Thank you,
Ms.
Mr.
Russ?
President. I would also like to take another point of privilege. Mr. Summers, if you would just stand up quickly. I want to introduce the board to Kevin Summers. He's joined us on our leadership team, Executive Director of Data and Accountability. This is a role that we've needed for a really long time and not had all of those measures running down the middle of our strategic plan. Mr. Summers is going to be critical in helping us to measure and keep our accountability. He will be the first to tell you that he wants his role to be more about support, and that is important, but one of our core values is the achievement and being accountable. And so his work is going to very much center around that. Very experienced, has a strong background in that area. He's been a superintendent in the superintendent role as well, and so he is a great addition to our team.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here.
All right, July 28th, our campuses will be reopened to the public, so those families who are needing to take care of enrollment and so forth, the front door will be open. August 8th, we'll have that exciting event that was referenced earlier, our convocation. We've noted 8:30, but since printing this, we have shifted that to 9. August 11th will be Students' First Day for grades 1 through 12. August 13th, we will welcome our little pre-K and kinders who rule the world. And we'll be back here on August 26th for our next regular Board of Education meeting at 5:30 p.m. And that's all that I have for you.
Okay, before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I should have mentioned this earlier about our new athletic director. The Walkadits had a car wash. Okay, it's during Dragon Main, and he was kind enough to show up and not only let us wash his car, let the girls wash his car, but to have a picture taken with him. That in 29 years that has never happened. And I know because my wife was, of course, the coach. So I'd like to thank you for that, for making yourself, out there, being out there for the community and everything. And again, welcome.
The question is, how many cars did he wash?
That's probably a question for a later date. Yeah. I know, well, thank you, and again, welcome. So, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Ms. Edberg. Excuse me, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Meeting